That is some interesting music. That's what we got. So, good morning. Good morning. We'll give it give it about another minute or so. Tag a friend, share it with a friend, repost, hit the share button, hit the like button, all the things. Get this to pop up in the timeline for everybody to see, so they can join, and we can get rolling here on an update. So, lot to discuss. Things really kind of going as planned in terms of the forecast. So it's great. We had a little bit of a hiccup in the data yesterday for sure, with some of the trends, but we kind of stuck to our guns for the most part. And here we are. So good morning, everybody, and we'll give it just another 30 seconds or so, and we'll get on with it. This is good. We got a good comment already. Brian, appreciate the just give us the facts. Don't get dramatic. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know I ever got dramatic, but whatever. Thank you for the wisdom this morning. We'll talk about the warnings and everything, and where the official forecast is, and get this going. So again, good morning, everybody, and let's talk about this. So first thing I want to show you is the basically the map right now for just the entire setup, with where the advisories are, the warnings, winter storm watches. We've got some winter weather advisories as well out there. This is a general idea map of what we're looking for. Some people have wondered why they got downgraded, or if you're on the northern edge, what are you going to get? What are you going to receive? And we'll try to get as detailed as possible here with, just showing you our maps, our simulated radar guidance, everything that we're thinking in terms of snowfall. So, and wind as well, along with ice. So winter storm warnings are going through about 8 states this morning. Millions of people are going to be impacted with this. We get the really cold air in behind it, a lot of snow, all the things. So first thing I want to, second thing we'll kind of run into right now is just radar this morning. This is a look here at radar. It's our Clarity radar platform, and you can see that the system is going to be gearing up soon. It's going to be coming here off the Rockies. It's going to start getting its act together, and it's going to start really getting nasty out there in Kansas, southeastern Nebraska, western Missouri here before too long. In fact, just looking here at the next 24 hours out in those locations, you can start to see the initial development of this. So tomorrow morning, we're going to start seeing this thing really get, and then it'll pick up in intensity and coverage here tomorrow afternoon across the entire central portion of the United States. Many people are going to be impacted here with this. So, what I'll do is kind of go through play by play here on radar, okay, and kind of show this to you. Again, I would ask that one, let's keep the comments, as limited as we can right now, just so that I can go over the analysis, and then you can ask questions, and I'll go through and answer some of those throughout the way here, but throughout the stream. But I'm not going to be looking at your comments right now while I'm doing this. So just FYI, I'm going to go through the analysis, and then I'll get back and check out the comments here in a little bit. So this is a look here. We're going to kind of go forward here and watch as this kind of spreads east. And I'm going to stop here as it spreads into Missouri, Illinois. This is going to be at about 1 o'clock Eastern time, 1 a.m. here Sunday morning. Okay, so midnight Sunday in Central Time. And the storm is starting to kind of get its act together. And then I'll take it out here to 7 a.m. Okay. And you can see that, again, just a strengthening of the storm. You've got heavy snow across northern Missouri, central Illinois. You've got sleet mixing in. That's the purple. And then beneath that is the pink. That is the freezing rain and ice suggestions. And then obviously beneath that is the rain. Anytime you have, you know, uh, 4 different types of precipitation within 100 miles, you know you're going to have a tough forecast and a very high impact storm. You get all those different colors in one state. You're going to have a very tough forecast and but also a very impactful storm as it will roll through the area. I'm going to take it right as it starts snowing here into Indianapolis. I think sometime around, call it 9 to 11 a.m. be the start time around the I-70 corridor. And again, these darker blues, you can see just how much the heavier snowfall rates. We're probably going to be looking at 1 inch to 1.5 inches per hour snowfall rates here across central Indiana, central Illinois, and north central Missouri. So, at times the snow is going to be accumulating rapidly hour by hour as we get into, the initial setup, the initial what we call the onslaught, if you will, the initial burst of heavy snow. Low pressure center at this time is located in eastern Kansas. That L that says 999 on it, that's the strength of the low center. Yesterday, what was happening is, we had data, trustworthy data, that was a lot weaker with that and a lot further south and just less organized. And these systems, when you get about 48 to 60 hours out, a lot of times what happens is these systems, they'll kind of, they'll try to pull a fast one on you. And if you bite on it, like a lot of people normally do, they freak out and they go, oh gosh, the forecast is wrong now and everything's changing. And, sometimes that's true, but a lot of times in these bigger storm systems, that's not the case, right? You can you can kind of cling on to climatology and what the storms normally do, and know that they're going to come back north, and they're going to do what the consistency in the model had all week, which for 5 or 6 days, every model under the sun had 10-inch plus snow totals across the central U.S., across 5 states. So something to keep in mind. Sometimes these models will pull a head fake, or you'll have an erratic run and everybody freaks out. Oh, here you are again. You're such an idiot. You said it was going to snow and now it's not. Ha ha ha, you suck. And, you get those types of comments flood in. They just absolutely flood in. People are just, they get totally, you're the guy that says it's going to do it and it doesn't. I wish I could have a job where I'm wrong 95% of the time. And, you just get that. It just comes with it. But storms like this, they do come back. And then a lot of times people are left going, oh man, that's interesting. Okay, cool. So I want to show you, oh, look who it is. It's Brett Watts. And I can't hear you.
Oh no.
Brett Watts is in the house with us this morning.
I bet I can fix that.
I still
Because
can't
I'm still drinking coffee.
hear you now. I can hear you. I was muted. That's my problem. So anyways, good morning. After you joined, I was getting ready to mention, before we get into the rest of the forecast analysis, I was getting ready to mention our friends at Express Steel.
Oh yes.
So they, again, are powering these streams and these outlooks for you all. expresssteelinc.com/BAM. They're out of Martinsville, and just an absolutely great company. Worked with us for several years. They've got their snow pushers. If you haven't gotten one yet, I don't know if they're open today. Maybe they are. You might get one. You're probably going to need it. expresssteelinc.com/BAM, and then tell them you saw them here on the stream. So, Brett, what do you got for us this morning? Anything?
Yeah, so a couple of interesting things that I started to wonder about last night. It was really the Canadian data that kind of started the South trend. And as I think back to all of winter events that we've had over the past couple years, the Canadian models have the tendency to bring in too strong of a high pressure from the north. And I think that that probably was part of the issue yesterday. And they're still further south. But I don't know if this particular strength of a storm is going to be a good one for that particular model to handle. And I'd expect that as we get a little bit closer for it to come back further to the north and get more in line with the high res data.
Yeah, the European has done several clicks back to the northwest here
Mhm.
over the last 3 runs, and, again, I think, like you said, I think we can kinda continue. What's happening now is the data that lost its mind for a little bit is all coming around to the American data that never really lost its mind inside of 96 hours. I mean, the GFS was lost at first, um, and then once it was found, it hasn't moved.
It's been remarkably consistent.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, for sure.
Crazy kind of how consistent that it's been, especially for that particular model. We talked about it yesterday. Kind of weird that it's been the one that's been more consistent. That's not super normal.
Yeah. Well, guys, keep sharing and tagging friends, reposting. Keep hitting the like and the love button, getting that in the algorithm of folks, so we can talk about timing. All right. Yeah, Leah, I saw your comment right there. I'm going to get right back to timing. So just making sure everybody's interacting and and sharing, and then we'll get right back into. So this here is the start of this uh, Sunday. Okay, you're looking at about, again, it's going to enter Southwest Indiana about 6 or 7 a.m. and then it's going to move in here. Um, I had to get my headphones. It's going to move in here closer to the Indy metro area around 9, 10, 11 a.m. or so. And that's where, we'll be starting to see the snow come down and it really starting to accumulate rather quickly. Real quick here, I wanted to, one second, Brett, I just connected my headphones because,
No, all good. While you're doing that, I'm kind of watching right now, and I'll update as it comes in. The newest run of the HRRR model, which is the high resolution rapid refresh model. That's one that, especially as we get closer, is one that actually updates every hour. Will be an important model to watch. So I'm going to keep an eye on that as you kind of go through the sim radar here and update on how that's looking to come in.
perfect. Okay, sorry, had to get my adjustment there. So as we continue to go forward here, we're going to stop it at about 1 o'clock on Sunday, and you can see widespread snow from Lafayette, Kokomo, Indy, Bloomington, Columbus, northern Kentucky, central Illinois, north central Missouri. You can see the sleet. There is going to be sleet mixing in further south there initially, and your pinks and reds that you see down there, those are your freezing rain indications. That's where there could be a really, really bad ice storm across Missouri, Illinois, Southwest Indiana, Western Kentucky. And then as I continue, I want you to notice just how dark the colors start to get here Sunday evening, 3, 4, 5 o'clock. They really start to get, uh, you know, pretty dark blue. And that is essentially an indication of some very heavy snowfall rates. Um, and I think there's a risk here for an inch and a half per hour snowfall rates at times on Sunday. And again, this is 4 o'clock. You can see that snow just really coming down across Illinois, Indiana. The freezing rain still ongoing against a 4 o'clock snapshot. And you can see these purples mixing in. That's where the snow for intensity is going to be getting incredibly heavy. All right, so that's a really strong indication of a very heavy snowfall rate there, coming down about 5, 6 o'clock Sunday. Take you out to 7 p.m. And sorry, I got my dogs in here. They're wanting to play. But we're not playing right now. Take you out to 7 p.m. Sunday. Again, you can see the freezing rain working in a little bit further north in the area of low pressure there in western and northwestern Tennessee. I do want to mention as we get into about, you know, oh, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, from about 11 p.m. Sunday through the early morning hours of Monday. I don't know if you guys remember us talking about this on the lives, but we talked a lot about a dry slot and an intrusion of sleet. And I think right now that's about, let's call it 10 p.m. to probably 4 a.m. or so of a dry slot working in, where you're going to have sleet mixing in as far north as Indianapolis, and dry air as well. You'll see a lack of snow, a lack of any precipitation other than some hard sleet hitting the windows. Um, it's up until that point, though, where there's a pretty decent amount of snow anticipated before that happens. And that's the one thing I want to make sure that we hit home on is there's going to be quite a bit of snow accumulated in the area before we start to see that take place. I'm going to show you the snowfall accumulation out to the time that that starts to happen. All right. And again, I'm gonna take it out to 10 p.m. Sunday night, and this is snowfall up until, this is just one of several models. I'm just giving you an idea. Snowfall up into the point of where the sleet and the rain, or in the dry air, if you will, might start mixing in. Okay. Again, of 10ish p.m. tomorrow night. All right. But you can see some locations may already be over 10 inches of snow when that happens. Okay. So that window, that sleet, that dry air intrusion, that is something we've talked about for a while. But on the backside, watch the snow fill back in as the banding, the potential deformation banding sets up as the low pressure centers right there in central Kentucky. It's a perfect spot for a deformation axis to develop there, Brett.
Yeah, I've seen several comments asking about thunder snow. That's
Hmm.
obviously always a hot topic. I personally
Mhm.
think that that's possible. With that first push that comes in, just looking
Mhm.
at some of the soundings, there's a little bit of conditional instability is what I would call that. And so I wouldn't say necessarily a super high chance, but I think that right along the sleet snow mixing line, I wouldn't 100% rule out some thunder snow there as we get into late Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah, and on the backside, you know, when this is moving out with the snow moving back in, because the GFS has been so consistent. It's just been so consistent. I want to show um, what it has leading up to this point as well. You can see that it's very similar in showing that a lot of places by Sunday night are going to have 6 to 11 inches of snow.
Mhm.
Okay. Then what happens is you'll work in what you call that deformation banding, that axis on the backside, because the GFS brings in the sleet and the dry air as well. You can see it reaches Indianapolis here. This is in the pre-dawn hours of Monday. Around 1, 2 o'clock in the morning Monday, the GFS is showing that as well. This has been the most consistent solution, and all the models are playing catch up to this right now. They're all converging to what this has been saying, by the way. A lot of you wondering about the discrepancies we had yesterday. Well, we showed you both, and this one's winning out. But this is Monday morning, 4 a.m. We're still seeing that. Uh, in fact, there's a really nice way for me to show you the dry air risk there. Okay, you see that? That's that dry air pocket working into the upper levels of the atmosphere, low relative humidity values as the storm begins to transfer. But on the backside, you get the moisture to fill back in and you get that deformation banding. And that's where you get additional snowfall accumulation to occur. And that's what the GFS is doing. It's what it's been doing its last 16 runs. I went back and counted 16 runs. It's been consistent. So by Monday morning, you look here in the Indianapolis area, um, We're going to start watching the profile saturate again and turn back to snow by anywhere between 5 to 10 a.m. Monday is going to be the thought process right now. All right. By 10 a.m. Monday, you should see a pretty good snow and high ratio too coming down. Looking at how cold it is, Brett, this is a pretty nice sounding for snow. Look at that lapse rate, 7.2 kilometer lapse rate there.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was talking about with some of the thunder snow potential too. It looks like maybe even the deformation band there, could be a two chances of it, depending on how well that forms. That's
Yep.
what we look at for those of you that are quote unquote weather nerds and look at some of these weather models. Those lapse rates in these types of situations in the mid levels, 3 to 6 kilometers, is where you look for potential thunder snow.
Yep. Yep.
Um, and Michael, if I could, real quick, I'm going to share my
Yep.
screen
Mm-hmm.
because I want to show people the trend in the European model specifically. Now, keep in mind this is not a forecast, but I want to show you visually how that has changed because it's a
Ooh.
really big deal.
Are
Um,
you a social meteorologist cowboy?
yes, which
Wow.
is why we have snow ski up in the top
Snow ski
corner
is
here.
here. Let's
Yes.
cowboy it up.
So we need to. Did we order cowboy hats? Did Amanda
We
order?
did. I think they're supposed to be in today.
I'll have to go
I
get them
think.
at the office.
Yeah.
But let me share my screen. Let me make
Yep.
sure that I put this on here. There we go. All right. So this is the European models forecast yesterday morning. This was the 24 hours ago. Basically, its forecast. You can see it had very little snow, 1 to 3 inches across along and north of I-70, with the heaviest band actually southeast of Louisville, more across northern Kentucky. It has shifted, you can see back and forth here, several counties back to the north over the past few runs, and it's ticked north every single run. Now the
Mhm.
heaviest snow band is, the second county row of southern Indiana and into southern Ohio there. And I would expect it to continue to come north, which is why I preface this with this is not our official forecast or anything like that. Here, the trend is your friend, and the trend in this model is partly what gives us confidence of this heavier snow band coming back to the north, closer to the I-70 corridor.
Yeah, and I don't think it's done, Brett. I think at 12Z it adjusts again. I mean, there's a lot of ensemble data and high res models that have bandings of 12 inches or more northwest by another two counties of that there over Cincinnati and in Indiana. There's a lot of data that has a lot of banding going on there. So I
Mhm.
don't think it's done adjusting, you know.
Yeah, and by the way, one area, go back here. One area that has been very consistent is out here in northeast Kansas and northwest Missouri. Again, we do have some. I know we have some Kansas City followers, and so heavy snow out here, more than a foot probably across northeast Kansas, maybe Kansas City and northwest Missouri. So substantial snow out there. Ooh, what was
Yeah.
that?
That was the wind chill criteria has been met for my house. It feels
Ooh,
like 0 degrees outside, I think.
that's terrible.
Yeah. It alerts me when that I'm looking at the HRRR. Um, it's in through hour 2028. And in fact, I can share that. I can kind of show folks what I'm looking at. I'm watching new data come in as we're streaming with you. Okay, if you guys wanna look at this. For those of you watching, I'm going to share just for this. I'm going to share the actual forecast for snow at about 8:40. Just so you know, I'm holding off till about 8:40 because I'm watching this model and I'm very, very curious what it's doing. So 8:40, you got a sticker. If you want to see the snow map, that's when we're going to show it. All right. So grab a coffee and tune in if you want to learn about what the models are doing. This is, again, the latest HRRR weather model, high resolution, rapid refresh model. It brings the snow into the area right now. It's about almost a little early, 8, 9 a.m. Central Indiana. The idea is that there's going to have to be some dry air that we overcome, though. It doesn't start actually accumulating the snow until probably closer to 11 o'clock or noon. So you can see the snow accumulation starting there in Indiana, Central Indiana, about 11 a.m. or so. All right. So just watching the new model come in, and what we do is we compare it to the previous run. We shoot comparisons and just talk about, what's it doing versus the last run, how's it performing. Very, very similar outcomes right now so far. Nothing has really changed much. Might be an inch weaker in Southwest Indiana out to this particular time frame, but yeah. What do you notice, Brett? Anything?
I'm looking at just the trend of the low strength. It's pretty much the same. It looks like it may be a slight touch weaker, but also a slight touch west. So maybe a little slower. So that could be part of it. But it's very minor. Very minor details. If it is a touch slower, a touch weaker, then it may be a little bit slower to bring in some of the snow on Sunday. So that'll be what I'm watching over the next few
Well,
frames.
I'm out to hour 29.
Yep.
And it is a county west, but it's still 1,001.
Yeah.
They're both 1,001 here.
It's looks the same. It's a slightly weaker than I was comparing to 0Z, but gosh, yeah, it's really not that different.
Yeah. Yeah. So what Brett's talking about is the red L there in northeastern Kansas. That's our storm center. That's the location of the storm, and what we're watching is just the trend in the model. The model run on the right was the model that ran 6 hours ago, and then this one on the left is the new run. So, all right, real quick, 8:40 if you're watching AM. We're going to show the snow maps. 8:40, just so you know. And if people are asking at 8:40, I'll show the forecast for snow. All right. Real quick, just so y'all are aware, I want to talk about one thing that I think needs to be brought up, and that is the potential, at least for some power outages. I made a map that I think would be a value for you all to see, because when we're talking about the ice impacts, there's also major concerns that this can impact the power grid as well. Some of the heavier snow with the wind and the sleet mixing in can also cause power outages. Now, when you see the possible, it's isolated occurrences. When you see the likely, it's, here and there occurrences, right? There's going to be, a couple counties here, a couple counties there. You guys have to remember, for example, in Nashville, Indiana, Brown County, if somebody looks in the wrong direction, you lose power, right? Some power grids are stronger than others.
Mm-hmm.
So you really have to keep that in mind. There are pretty weak power grids, and a foot of snow and 40-mile-per-hour winds can easily knock out power. So when you see likely, it doesn't mean that everyone in the orange is going to lose power, but it means there could be quite a few power outages inside that area in general.
Yeah, and Michael, I can speak from personal experience with the 2009 ice storm that happened in southern Indiana and northern Kentucky. I don't know if we have quite as much ice as that one. I know there was an inch and a half with that one. I don't think it's quite that much, but with the wind and the cold temperatures behind, it could make it pretty gnarly. And I remember, gosh, I don't even remember what grade I was in. I think I was in middle school, but we were out of school for the entire week because there were so many people without power.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it shows the potential problems that can happen with major ice storms.
Yeah, that's absolutely great point. Absolutely a great point. Yeah, so we're just trying to give you a generalized idea of there's probably going to be widespread power outages in southeast Missouri, southern Illinois, southwest Indiana, and northwest Kentucky, just for the sheer fact of a lot of ice. There could be up to a half an inch of ice out there. Um, so the odds are it's going to be pretty bad. Odds are anywhere in the orange and red, there'll be travel warnings. You're probably not going to be encouraged or allowed to travel in certain situations. So
Mhm.
about 9 minutes, and we'll share the snow map. All right, 9 minutes, and we'll share the snow map. If you guys are just watching, tag a friend, share it for us, hit the like and the love button. In 9 minutes, 8:40 a.m. Again, we will share the snowfall forecast.
So another interesting little thing that I just noticed, Michael, with this HRRR, um, the dynamic ratio, I think, is actually higher than the Kuchera, slightly, very
on
similar.
on the 12Z run, or
Yeah, on the 12Z run, it's very very subtle. They're nearly identical, but on Pivotal, if you do the total snowfall one, which is their own ratio versus the Kuchera, I think it's actually a little bit higher, but not much.
are you on Nerds or Pivotal?
I'm on Pivotal.
Is it the same? You think, or
I don't know.
me
I'm not
neither?
sure if it's the same or not. We can see.
Ah, just put them.
It is a little. This run is a little slower, I would say.
Okay.
In terms of accumulation, I don't know if it's lighter or if it's just a little bit slower. We'll need a couple more frames deter, to determine that. So 12Z, when we refer to 12Z, 6Z, 0Z, guys, it's just the time. It's the UTC time, is when all models run off of. They run off of that time zone and not Eastern or Central or Western time. And so 12Z is just what, 8 a.m. is basically what that means. I think
Yeah.
is 7 or 8. It depends on daylight savings, but it's just referencing the time that the model starts running roughly.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I would say it is. It's definitely a step back in intensity there a little bit.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I see that. It looks very similar. It actually looks. What's interesting, Brett, is the dynamic ratio on the Nerds HRRR is actually even higher than the Kuchera and Pivotals.
Okay.
That's interesting. Um,
Yeah, and I do wonder maybe if it's just partly because of the temperatures. Um,
I'm gonna
it,
share. I'm gonna share this with folks so they can see it.
it's still coming in aggressive though.
So here's the latest run. The only thing I don't like, I love Weather Nerds. They do a great product. But the only thing the colors are kind of hard to follow.
Yeah.
But anywhere where you see the light pink shade, that's a foot or more. That's 12 inches or more. And then anywhere where that dark blue goes to the light blue, that's 3 inches or more. That hopefully that kind of helps. But now you can certainly see that right here. There's certainly a suggestion of very heavy snow. To see
Storm.
this still show up on the model is pretty remarkable.
Yeah, and this is the first wave.
No.
It's not even done snowing yet at that point with the first wave.
Here, I just got another frame in.
Oh my gosh.
There's hour 38.
It's the Bloomington bullseye there.
Man, I tell you.
That's by the way, I don't think IU starts school back until next week, but I know that all the frats and sororities are going back this week to start with their rush. So if you've got kids at IU that are planning on coming back Sunday or Monday, you may want to be sure to tell them to adjust their plans.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That's my sister went back. I had her go back yesterday.
So this run, Let's see. I'm going to compare the two. So you guys are getting a chance right now to kind of see us analyze data. So it's kind of fun. Um, the current run right now, 12Z, is in through hour 39, which is 03Z. That is 10 p.m. It's actually heavier, I think. Let me compare to the
Mhm.
previous one.
I think it's just slower.
It's not. I wouldn't say it's heavier. It's still pretty similar. I mean, the difference here is a little bit slower.
Mhm.
You can see the void in Illinois where it's heavy in Missouri and then heavy in Indiana. That's the storm basically um, tilting and
Mhm.
it's really kind of taking its next step towards intensification, if you will, and it's getting ready to transfer energy to the East Coast. Um, but
Yeah.
these are remarkable. This is a remarkable run and consistency with the HRRR. Um, this is out through Sunday night, 10 p.m. So anywhere inside this, and normally, by the way, I want to be transparent with you all. This dynamic ratio snowfall map that you're seeing, normally this is a very conservative way to look at snow totals because it analyzes many sections of the atmosphere. And really kind of pinpoints if there's issues with snowfall, like if there's going to be a dry slot or the issue with snowflakes developing. Normally, this is a conservative, lower look, but this tells us a lot about this storm, Brett. I think with what we're dealing with here.
Yeah, and something interesting that I'm noticing a little bit. So you normally get snow growth between -12 and -18 degrees Celsius. So I'm going to be slightly technical here, which basically is going to be, it in the teens, right? Or lower in terms of temperature. We actually, the surface temperatures and just above the surface actually get close to -10 degrees Celsius, and you can actually get some snowflake development with that. I wouldn't be shocked if maybe part of the reason that dynamic ratio is higher, we could actually be getting some additional snowflake development right above the surface because temperatures are so cold. Um, which is unusual, but it's not impossible. So we could be almost padding some of the snowfall a little bit because of how cold the temperatures are.
Yeah. Uh, I I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, I'm not trying to be dramatic here, but I really can't believe this.
We're watching live, guys. Yeah, we're watching this come in live, so don't you know, don't blame Bam for showing crazy totals here. We're just watching it come in.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you're in the HRRR. You've seen several runs of the HRRR now. I mean, gosh, you know, I don't know. I mean, this is 12 to 18 inches of snow, Brett. I mean, this is,
Yeah, and I
you know,
don't know if it's done snowing yet by then.
I,
I don't think the
yeah.
deformation bands come around.
Um,
We better people are getting antsy. We better show our map. It's almost 8:40.
oh boy. Well, I can tell you right now, our map isn't as aggressive as this is. This is a model, by the way, but I'll show you the map and show you the official forecast right now. But I'll tell you, if this trend continues, um, this is going to be this is going to be a snowstorm you're never going to remember, or you're never going to forget. I'm sorry, one like you're going to remember forever. Like, I mean, this is wild. So. This is kind of the idea. We highlighted this morning. The yellow dashed area is the area where we have a risk of a foot or more of snow. Um, I again, if it's red, it's 8 to 12 inches is the red color right now. Um, and so, I'm inclined to believe this is going to go up, especially as these higher res models are coming into the picture, Brett. Um, it's you're looking at out west, northeast Kansas, northern Missouri, you're looking at 12 to 18 inches plus. Um, and I'm concerned that we may be needing to think about that here. I can't believe I'm saying that, but
Yeah, I think it's I think we probably need to watch the other high res data come in and see where the best dynamics are, but it's possible. Um, and I don't know, maybe up to 2 feet out in northeast Kansas there. And by the way, too, this is a massive storm. Um, I mean, look how far it extends from Kansas all the way out to the East Coast.
mhm.
With that red area, 8 to 12 inches plus for such a big area. One thing I haven't looked at this morning is the wind. What are the gust probabilities look like? Because I know you talked a little bit about it earlier, but
Yeah, I'll show it in just a let me show this real
yeah.
quick, just some zoomed in views. Again, the red is 8 to 12 inches, okay? If you're seeing the yellow pop up, that's 12 inches or more, all right? Like, that's 12.4 inches in Columbus, 11.7 down there. And again, like Brett said, going over into the Mid-Atlantic, it stretches all the way to the east here. You can see the snowfall totals here, just a massive, expansive. Look at this, just crazy. 8 to 12 inch swath of snow for about 2,000, 2,500 miles. There's your ice forecast. Um, Eastern Kansas, central Missouri, southeastern Missouri, southern Illinois, Carbondale area, western Kentucky. That's a half inch of ice in a forecast for the blend of models. It's wild. So you talk about wind in this. Well, let's look at some wind probabilities. Let's look at some gust probabilities. The gusts of being 25 miles per hour or greater are basically maxed out in the probability category. 99% chance of 25 mile per hour or higher winds. The 54 mile per hour gusts are probably going to not happen, but there's indications of low end risk of that. Um, I do want to go, Brett. I'm going to pull this up real quick and show the. I'm going to show the HRRR wins.
Ooh, fun.
Um,
Here, we have a visitor that wanted to say hi,
oh, look who it
and she's
is!
got her BAM onesie on. I don't know,
Oh
it's hard
boy,
to see. Yeah.
look, wide awake this morning.
Yeah, she was wide awake all night too. She kept us up.
Oh no, that's awesome. Good morning. Wow.
Good morning. Somebody's saying they can't hear us. Bad service connection. Is it
Oh,
me?
it says losing audio, losing sound.
Oh no.
It's weird.
That's weird.
Um, I don't
Buffering.
know. Maybe it's because of how sound isn't coming through. Is everyone's saying we lost audio? Um, Let me
Well,
try pausing my video. Can't hear anything. Shoot.
all right, it's back. Callahan says it's back.
Okay. Back. It's back. You know what it was? When we went to two cameras and the map,
It got mad.
I think it got mad. That happened last time, and it's just the amount of data we're streaming. Um, you guys are much better looking than me, anyways. So she can steal the camera
She's
over us, anyways.
she's got, if you go to shop.bamwx.com, shameless plug here, you can see she's got her BAM onesie on.
There we
So
go.
if you have little ones, you can go get your BAM onesie. Yeah.
I love it. I
Are you
love
gonna
it.
help me forecast the weather? Are you gonna keep me up all night again tonight? Yeah. This is Willow. This is Willow. She's gonna help.
Okay. Okay. How do I get Brett to just do so we don't bog the stream down where it's not two camera images and the
There.
there? Perfect. Got it. Okay. So here we go. This is the wind gust forecast. Again, you were talking about winds. And again, you can see the HRRR weather model. Oh, goodness.
Wow.
That's interesting. Um,
Holy
so,
moly.
yeah, this is Sunday night and into Monday morning. So the full run's about in. You can see 40. I'm going to say, I'm going to cap it at 45 mile per hour winds, but you can see the HRRR being really aggressive with winds. Sometimes I will say the model does have a tendency to do this
Yeah, it
with
does.
wind. Sometimes it can get a little wind happy. Um, so that's something to keep in mind. It may get a little bit too aggressive. Nonetheless, 40-mile-per-hour winds and 12 to 15 inches of snow could be pretty bad. I don't know.
Uh,
Those are aggressive. I'll look
yeah.
here real quick at surface visibility during that time. Ooh,
So
daddy.
just for reference here, guys, blizzard conditions are 3 hours of 35 mile per hour frequent 35 mile per hour wind gusts and visibilities below a quarter of a mile.
I mean, the
This
HRRR has that for 6 hours tomorrow night.
I was gonna say, if you bought this model verbatim, this would qualify,
Uh huh.
which is a little concerning.
That's a little
Um,
wild. Yeah. So let me show real quick for those of you tuning in. Here's what I want to do. Um, I want you all to make sure you're following, subscribing, or liking whatever channel you're on. I'm going to go through a timeline real quick of simulated radar. I'm going to go through the timing one more time, and then I'm going to show you the snow forecast, and then we're gonna wrap up because we've been on for about 48 minutes. But I want to show you real quick what this is looking like. Again, here's the initial entry, if you will, of the snow moving in terms of the timing. Again, this is tomorrow. It's going to start accumulating in central Indiana around 10 or 11 a.m. Is most we're going to have some dry air to overcome. You might see snow on the radar, and it might not be snowing. All right, so here we go. You can see snow coming down really, really heavy. You see that tomorrow night at 7 p.m. That
mhm.
is inch and a half per hour snowfall rate. It's incredibly heavy. Snowing like the dogs here across the I-70 corridor, icing down southern Illinois, southwest Indiana, northern Kentucky. Just a really intense situation here. Warm nose works in, okay, about 9 or 10 o'clock tomorrow night. What's going to happen around 9 or 10 o'clock tomorrow night? You're going to see a changeover or a lull in snow. It's going to stop snowing, and it's going to change to sleet or ice for a while. Okay. You see that pocket work in. There it is. Dry air, sleet, freezing rain, freezing drizzle in the forecast picture there. So as that happens, what I want to show you is the transition for that happening right now is right about 10 p.m. tomorrow night. So snowfall wise, how much snow will be on the ground at 10 p.m. before the dry slot? Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm going to show you that. Okay. And it's right here. Here's how much snow would be on the ground before the dry slot and the sleet mixes in.
Jeez.
Okay. That's the initial wave. So that right there, if that verifies, would break a lot of records for Indiana snowfall totals inside 24 hours. You're going to travel will be impossible, by the way. You won't be able to travel. Anywhere in the 12-inch or more category, it's not going to happen. All right. This is before the dry slot. I want to make sure we understand that. And then go back here. What happens is on the back side of this, the dry slot will hang around until probably 8 to 10 a.m. Monday morning. This is 8 a.m. Monday. We still have the dry air, the freezing drizzle. So if you've got a foot or more of snow by 10 p.m. Sunday night, and then you throw freezing drizzle and rain on it and sleet, and the temperatures are falling, by the way, in this time frame, you are in for an absolutely nasty situation.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just it's just going to be brutal. Now,
It
this only
makes it
goes out
hard to
48
remove.
hours.
Yeah.
What's that, Brett?
I said it makes it you put freezing rain on top of snow, and it makes it incredibly hard to remove.
Oh yeah, it's going to be. You're going to be talking a couple of days here of travel trouble. So backside that snow. This if this continues this solution, this backside snow potential means more snow could happen Monday morning and throughout the day Monday. That's the crazy part. There
Yeah.
could be more. Like,
And
you can tell here on the model real quick, you can tell when it stops snowing because it stops adding snow. See how I'm advancing the frames, but the model's not accumulating it? It's because
mhm,
it's dry air and sleet and freezing rain. But
yeah,
watch in Illinois, watch it add in Illinois there on the backside. See that right there in Illinois adding it? That's the snow coming back for another round. That's pretty crazy. So,
yeah. And we did mention, and I'll continue to mention, the second wave, the backside snow. Historically, those are hit or miss.
yes.
It doesn't really matter with this storm at this point, aside from just planing, because it's not going to be make or break. I think in terms of the actual snow totals.
No.
Now
No.
it could add on several inches if it verifies. Sometimes those deformation bands of snow that we talk about, number one, can come with crashing temperatures, wind, and could put down several more inches of snow. But I'd say that's probably the lowest confidence part of the forecast.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, this is crazy, man. I mean, we'll go through and Brett, we can kind of take some questions here. Um, at this rate right now, what I'm probably going to do is again, this is a weather model. This is not a. I want to make sure you guys understand right now, our forecast right now, still for the most part is looking like this. It's 8 to 12 inches with locally higher amounts. Let me share that real quick. Until we come out and say, hey, officially, we're going 12 to 18 inches. Right now, we're 8 to 12 with locally higher amounts. I want to make sure we're clear on that. Okay. This is our product inside our application. And this is what we're going for right now. If this trend continues, the application forecast products update in 1 hour at about 9:55 in Clarity. I'll have all new data in it. So we'll kind of see if this ups the ante a little bit. But nonetheless, I mean, this is going to be a snowstorm to remember for quite a while. If the HRRR is right, it will be a historic snowstorm. The GFS will be a historic. These are storms that'll go down in the record books if they continue. So
Yeah, and either way, even if we don't hit that 12.5-inch mark or whatever at the airport, it's still going to be one of the biggest storms of the past, I don't know, 15 years at
yeah,
least.
yeah, for
Um,
sure.
you know, back to the 2014 storm. So,
Yeah,
regardless of whether we technically hit that quote unquote historic mark or not in terms of total snow at the airport, it's going to be one of the biggest and most impactful storms that we've had in the past 10 plus years. So,
yeah, agreed, guys. Let's see,
it,
Brett.
you know,
Let's shoot for another update today, probably around 1 o'clock.
okay.
Like one
Yeah.
o'clock. I mean,
One.
or do we want to wait for 18Z high res? Um,
Yeah, because it comes out
maybe let's
right after the Euro. So maybe 3:30, 3.
okay. Let's shoot for let's try to shoot for 3 o'clock maybe and
We
see
can
if
watch the data come in live.
yeah, yeah. So next live stream 3 p.m. And guys, I'm going to tell you. I mean, I think you're going to see. I think you're going to see a lot of people. Starting to kind of correct towards what we've been saying. I think you're going to see the ante up tier if things continue to go this way, especially with the high res data doing what it's
Mhm.
doing. So, 3 p.m. Eastern time next live stream. We'll keep you posted. Pretty crazy stuff we're seeing. If the HRRR does this again this evening, then we know we've got something to watch. So,
Yeah. Real quick before we hop off, just wanted to give a little more love to Express Steel. You're going to need the snow pushers. You can go down there to Martinsville. I think I saw a post earlier that they're They're in the shop today selling snow pushers. So if you need to go get some snow pushers, go see Express Steel in Martinsville and get $100 off of a snow pusher with the code BAM.
Awesome. Guys, be sure to like, share, follow, all the things, subscribe. We really appreciate you all watching. This is going to be a fun one.
I'm
So we'll
excited.
keep you posted, and we'll see you at 3.
See ya.